supporter of cats protection and also the proud owner of 3 Bengal tiger cats, I am delighted to come to the National Cat Adoption Centre to meet 2 ladies who are all about education, and I'm joined by Madison and Jackie, and also Captain, who we're going to be hearing his story in a little while. But ladies, first of all, obviously we want to talk about the Purrfect Landlords campaign, but congratulations are in order because you've won an award for your educational resources at the Landlord and Investment Show Awards last week, so you must be really thrilled about that.
Thank you. Yeah, we're definitely delighted that our campaign has already won an award, and we're already talking to landlords and getting them to change their policies to become more cat friendly.
It's fantastic. Well, as a landlord myself, I always allow cats in rental properties because, Jackie, I understand how much they enrich people's lives. And from a landlord perspective, we really want to educate them that, allowing tenants to have cats can be a very positive thing for everybody.
Yeah, well, our YouGov survey said that 94% of tenants got a positive impact from their cats, and we know that they're likely to be long stayers and good payers because it takes them a while to find a home for them and their cats. And we're completely aware that landlords need a discretion and a dialogue with the tenant about the cat, so we want a sort of pets considered discretionary approach, but no more of the sort of no pets, where pets are just banned without any discussion.
So this is a whole educational campaign, and you've got fantastic resources on the website as well, haven't you?
Yeah, so at www.cats.org.uk/Purrfect Landlords, we've got plenty of resources for both landlords and tenants. So for landlords, we actually have free downloadable example clauses that they can put straight into their tenancy agreements for tenants, and these encourage responsible cat ownership. So they include things like requiring neutering, vaccinations, microchipping and flea treatment, and a limit on the number of cats allowed per property. And this gives protections to landlords and makes sure that the tenants in their accommodation are being responsible. And then we also have resources for tenants who might want to ask their landlord if they're allowed a cat. And this includes example pet CVs that you can create, where you give references from previous landlords if you've already had a cat, and details about vaccinations and vet records from that cat and its general behaviours. Or if you come to a charity like Cats Protection, we can give you details about the nature of that cat and the type of property that it would be suitable for, to reassure landlords that they're getting the most suitable cat for their property.
Indeed. And what sort of things can landlords do for kind of peace of mind, Jackie, that they're allowing cat in the property? Yes. One thing that I would recommend, similar to what Madison was saying, was actually to go and look at the pet in its current home and see how it's behaving there. But landlords can do a few other things just to give them a bit of peace of mind to take a cat, can't they?
Well, as well as the clauses, they can obviously ask to see a copy of the vet records so they know that it's a regular attender. They can also get this reference from a previous landlord, so rather than just see it, they can just ask the previous landlord to give a reference so that the tenant can say there was no problem, I got my full deposit back. And yes, of course, they can meet the cat too. And I think, a responsible tenant is likely to be a responsible pet owner. The two go together. And, we've done research to show that, that there's a high percentage of landlords that have very little damage at all to their property, to their furniture and fittings. So 94% say that they haven't had any damage to their furniture or fittings. So that's pretty good.
Indeed, and most landlords, rent unfurnished. So really, I can understand maybe a furnished landlord being a little bit nervous about letting a cat in, but the tenant can always offer to undertake a deep clean or obviously have an inventory done at the beginning, that kind of thing. So there are processes where everybody can be protected.
There's other things tenants can do, so they can make sure they provide the correct enrichment for their cat, so they've got a good scratching post so it doesn't feel tempted by a sofa, for example, and to get loads of fun cat toys and play with their cats on a regular basis. And this can all help, to make sure that the cat is happy in the property and it's not damaging the furniture of the landlords, because unfortunately damage is actually the biggest thing that landlords are worried about. But of landlords that we spoke to who allow cats, damage is actually rarely a problem, and if there is any damage, the standard tenancy deposit fee should actually cover this. So landlords are protected if damage does occur.
I think it's just really to say, Jackie, that landlords, they just sometimes have this blanket agreement, no pets. And what we're trying to say with the Purrfect Landlords campaign is that, you know, pets considered, and to look at each individual cat on its own basis and see if there is a way that the landlord can allow the pet to come into the property.
Because it's a tragedy if a person already has a cat and can't find anywhere to move into. We've heard of people having to move town, so they can't live in Brighton, they've had to go to Lewis, for example, or just giving up completely or taking months and months and months. So basically, Cats Protection gets cats in, such as poor Captain here, who we'll come on to, who's had a happy ending, but we get cats in because landlords refuse to take cats. And in fact, 79% of our branches and adoption centres all around the UK said this problem's getting worse.
Yeah, I'm unfortunately one of a tenant that isn't allowed to have a cat in the rented property, and I've asked my landlord, and you know, I really feel like something's missing from my life because I've grown up with cats, and tenants get such a positive benefit, and it is disappointing that there are landlords that just say no pets and then there's no flexibility.
No, quite. Well, as a cat owner, I could not bear to be parted from my catty. So let's talk about Captain now, because he's here, part of the interview as well. He's got a very interesting story relevant to the Purrfect Landlords campaign, hasn't he?
Yes. Well, Sian, who works for Cats Protection, she lives in a flat down the road in Lancing by the sea, and she's desperate to have a cat, and she's spoken to her landlord before, but since we launched our campaign, she's gone back to her landlord, who'd previously said no, and she's used our leaflets and she's used some of the arguments, and the landlord said yes. So Captain came in because of a landlord, and now he's going back to a rented property. Now he's FIV positive, which means he has to be an indoor cat. And I think lots of landlords don't know about indoor cats. So if you live in a flat, it's perfectly possible to get an indoor cat like Captain, who has to be, for his own protection, kept indoors because he's got a compromised immune system. He's absolutely gorgeous. He'll have a litter tray, a scratching post. He'll be as happy as Larry, well, as happy as Captain. And, you know, it's nice to have a happy ending.
Oh, well, that is such a wonderful story, and he is, you know, the first result of the Purrfect Landlords campaign, and we see him here getting ready to go to his new home. So that's
like the one on the cover. Look, that's not you, is it, Captain? That's not you, but it looks like you. Oh.
Oh, well, that's a really, really wonderful story. So, ladies, the campaign's only just launched. Captain is almost like an ambassador for it. He's ready to go to his new home, and I guess the message going forward, actually we should also mention with leasehold, some leases do prohibit pets, but it's definitely worth speaking to the managing agent or the freeholder and asking if there can be any exceptions to that, and using the resources on the website to show the superior leaseholder as well, to see if there's any flexibility with having an indoor cat in the flat. So we definitely recommend that. But it's got off to a flying start. You've won your award. We've got a home for Captain. So looking good for Purrfect Landlords.
Yes, we'll keep talking to landlords. We're going to go to lots of landlord shows next year, and we want to go and meet the landlords where they are and find out their concerns and hopefully persuade them that it's not that, you know, it's not that big a risk for them really, and it could really result in, as we say on the web page, happy landlords, happy tenants, happy cats.
Well, we can't say better than that. Well, thank you so much for having us here at the National Cat Adoption Centre. Really interesting to hear about the Purrfect Landlords campaign, and Property Tribes fully supports it. And if you are a landlord watching this, please do consider putting pets considered on your advertisements, and you know, as we said, really helping enrich tenants and cats' lives. And I think it's great for the private rented sector that you guys are engaging in this way as well, and helping tenants find good landlords as well. So thank you very much, and also thank you to Captain. And we'll follow the campaign with interest.